The Mamdani Act. This is quite the meme. Probably theatrics, but it's very funny. So a Texas representative very recently, a couple days ago, named Chip Roy, which don't name your sons Chip. Like that is horrible. I mean, Roy's already a rough last name to have, and Chip Roy, like I instantly thought Chip's a Roy. Don't name your kids Chip. They came up with a an act proposed. I doubt it's going to pass, but it really seems like theatrics. The Mamdani Act. This actually stands for something. It's the Measures Against Marxism's Dangerous Adherents and Noxious Islamists Act, which the noxious thing, like that's a stretch. I mean, look, it's funny, but it's probably just theatrics. Anyway, the act itself is immigration law changes that would deport, denaturalize, deny U.S. citizenship or entry to any alien who is a member of a socialist party, a communist party, the Chinese Communist Party, or Islamic Fundamentalist Party, or who advocates for socialism, communism, Marxism, or Islamic fundamentalism. That's all it is. And people are losing their minds over it. They are saying that it's going against free speech, that it's bigoted, that it's racist somehow. I'm not sure how it's racist exactly. I mean, I guess technically the Chinese Communist Party could be seen as racist, but generally these are all just ways of ruling a government or religious beliefs, so it's not really racist in that particular regard. Yeah, Reddit is losing their minds over this. The party of free speech for racists only. Again, like I don't know how it's racist. Someone does say it's political theater here as well, like I said, but they are also saying that it's normalizing racism. They don't understand what race even is. It would seem. I'm not sure. This person saying authoritarian, not authoritarian, but authoritarian, fascist because everything they dislike is fascist, convicted felon. I don't know if Chip Roy's a convicted felon, but they're probably talking about Trump. And then they just say Antichrist. Okay. I don't know. Like, again, are they saying Trump's the Antichrist? I'm not sure exactly what they're saying there. And then they say make believe socialist slash Marxist lol. Not on my watch. I mean, Mamdani's openly a so called democratic socialist, and he is a Muslim. So, not sure why they think it's make believe, but again, this is someone who's apparently accusing Trump of being the Antichrist whilst talking about Chip Roy. How do you even follow what a Democrat says, honestly? Then the next comment saying, that Mamdani is one powerful dude if he is causing this kind of right-wing panic. Well, California is putting out the Nick Shirley Act. I mean, it's not actually a clever acronym. Someone in California dubbed it that unofficially, but that's an independent journalist causing them to freak out and try and cover all the turds they've laid with dirt. And this guy is a mayor of New York. So a little bit of a disparity there. California is freaking out about independent journalists, and the GOP is freaking out about an Islamic mayor in New York. And then someone responding by glazing Mamdani here, saying that he's doing such great things. Or you can enroll for the free 2K childcare for your 2-year-old this summer. He's raising taxes on wealth and luxury property. Yeah, he's doing all that by taxing the rich people, which is what the communists want. But he's also taxing mostly white people because there's some racial inequity here in whom he's taking money from and whom he's giving money from as well. I don't need to tell you the demographics of Brownsville, but let's just say certain neighborhoods. And when I say let's just say, I mean Mamdani specifically said this on microphone in front of people. Certain neighborhoods are getting all of this childcare and free housing and so not cheap housing. They're getting all of that first and foremost before the other people. So this is part of New York City's narrative that white supremacy is ruining the country. He's not mentioning that Mamdani is basically destroying the police because the police force is racist. He's basically destroying the prisons because prisons are racist. He's not talking about how they're making the grocery stores into a communist supermarket, a socialist supermarket. They do say that Mamdani is going to show the whole country that if you elect a socialist, it'll be the best decision of your life. I love, again, that's 2 posts in a row, or 2 threads in a row, where they're thinking that he's not a socialist. Like, he's a self-admitted socialist. Why is this like they think it's some sort of secret? They the left wing, they accuse the people they don't like of being a fascist. This is not the right wing accusing him of being a socialist. He is a socialist. And the best decision of your life, you think getting rid of the cops and the prisons and replacing it all with hashtag mental health and giving all of the black and brown people free healthcare and free childcare and stuff, that's going to be the best decision of our lives? Well, I think it's a very poor decision based off of a very poor belief that the reason all of these people commit crimes is because white supremacy. Needless to say, these people, obviously, they're going to immediately, I mean, it's what they've been doing. Even before Trump was elected, they were basically saying that Trump was going to start with the illegals and move on to everyone he didn't like. It's what they've always said. Like, seriously, I've been reading them say that since before Trump was elected. They've always said that they were going to deport everyone except for white people. They've always said that. And they've always made their own crazy delusional narratives for when they get power, as this particular comment can show you. This sounds like the oldest person I've ever seen in my life posted this. Sweet, can't wait to get control of the government again so that we can all ban MAGA. Wore a red hat? Banned. Voted MAGA? Banned. Hell, we could turn ICE into idiot control and enforcement. Making up their own stupid acronym there. So again, this is something that a lot of people, not just on the left, but mostly on the left, this is something they do, where they think they're going to get in control of the government. Like, oh, when I'm made king of the country, then I'll enact all of the laws I want, and I'll pardon all of the people I want. That's not how it works. You're not going to have power. You're a nobody on Reddit. And how are you possibly comparing wearing a MAGA hat to being an Islamic fundamentalist, to being a Chinese communist? They're advocating for Chinese communism in America. That's the same as wearing a hat that says "Make America Great Again," a nationalist concept that everyone who is an American should, at least on a hypothetical, even if you don't agree with Trump, even if you don't agree with what Trump's like doing generally, you should at least be in favor of America. That was the entire point behind the hat. You wear the hat, that means you are in favor of America. It's the exact same as the State of the Union when he asked people to stand and the Democrats refused to stand. It's very obvious, and yet the Democrats can't understand that. They think the red hat means that you're some sort of fascist. Oh, you're a fascist. No, it means you're in favor of the country. It's baffling how these people don't get it. And some of them, like, they can't even read. Like, they want to denaturalize non-citizens, lol. No, that's not what it said at all. Let me reread it here. It said it would deport, denaturalize, deny U.S. citizenship or entry to any alien who is a member of a socialist party, a communist party, the Chinese Communist Party, or Islamic fundamentalist party, or advocates for socialism, communism, Marxism, or Islamic fundamentalism. Apparently that was too much for this person to grasp, and then after not reading it and coming to a totally wrong conclusion, they then decide to say that it actually proves that they can deport all maggots. That's right. You posted 2 sentences. You were completely wrong. Proved that you're illiterate, and then degraded the people who were standing for MAGA, Make America Great Again, the nationalist party that's pro-country, because you are not pro-country. You hate the country. You want to destroy America, which is why everyone hates you. There's another Reddit thread about the exact same thing with people being equally stupid. This means we can deport all the fascists and Christian fundamentalists. See, the difference is that the lefties out there cheering for communism and socialism actually are communists and socialists, whereas the right wing aren't actually fascists. The lefties are just accusing them of being fascists. Now, there are Christian fundamentalists, but whether or not they're good or bad sort of depends on whom exactly you're talking to. I mean, Christian denominations are like a dime a dozen, and they all have different narratives, unless you're asking the left wing, where they're all evil cultists. Second post here, aka the deport everyone that disagrees with me, by claiming that their insert scary word here act. Yeah, that's the exact same as the left wing wants, isn't it? In fact, the top comment here proves that. You're literally posting under someone who wants the exact same thing as you, deporting all the things that you don't agree with, fascists and Christians, except the thing is, if they were left wing, they wouldn't be deporting them, and we know that. They would be putting them to the guillotines, wouldn't they? Here's another person saying, we have absolutely no obligation, this is a quote, saying, we have absolutely no obligation to open our doors to aliens who seek to undermine the Constitution, dismantle our republic, or champion ideologies fundamentally opposed to American liberties. And them saying, we can do that just fine, apparently, ourselves just fine. So again, the left wing thinks that anything they disagree with is someone destroying the Constitution. That's what they say over and over and over again. This article here by thecommondreams.org, hateful, bigoted Chip Roy introduces Mamdani Act in Congress. And throughout the whole thing, they're basically running on the narrative that it's anti-America, that it's anti-Constitution, all this kind of stuff, blaming fascism. Fascism always requires a public enemy. Everything requires a public enemy. That's how good and bad works. You can't make an argument for something being good unless there's a bad, so it's ridiculous to say that. They're just blaming everything that they don't like on Islamophobia, fascism. It's not constitutional. But if the Constitution never changed, if laws never changed, well, then think about it. Women wouldn't have the right to vote. They wouldn't have the right to work on any kind of like major important job, like being a heart surgeon or whatever. They wouldn't be able to have abortions. There would be no gay marriages. Black people would still be slaves. If laws never changed, all of that stuff would still be going on. And yet the laws did change, didn't they? And somehow, now, trying to change laws again means that you're evil. Except if the left wing got in power, they too would try to change the laws, wouldn't they? They're only trying to say that it's evil because it's the right wing doing it, because the left wing wants complete control. It's just pathetic. If you look at the top of this article here, hateful, bigoted, Chip Roy introduces Mamdani Act, and then they underpin that with blatant Islamophobia aside, Roy's staff probably wasted days trying to land this acronym, said one observer. In the second paragraph, at the very beginning of it, on the screen at the same time, you can see the exact same quote attributed to Ravi Mangla, press secretary for the Working Families Party. Really? Well, why'd you say one observer up here and then down here you said their name? I mean, it's on screen at the same time. It's the first sentence in the second paragraph. Ravi Mangla. Maybe you said one observer because pointing out that Ravi Mangla didn't like it might have sounded bad, right? And what is the Working Families Party? Let's look at some articles written on them from this site. It's woman, it's Fetterman, which all the Democrats hate because he's a white man. More women. There's Stephen Miller, which all the Democrats hate, of course. More women, black women. There's Mamdani, more women and black people. Some old white people who have no idea what they're talking about. You scroll down through here, and it's just anti-white people and pro-females and brown and black people through the whole thing. Oh, let's get down to, what is this, back in November 5th, 2024. Today, it's all on the line. Progressives mobilized nationwide to defeat Trump. The right to an abortion is on the ballot. Healthcare is on the ballot. Social Security and Medicare are on the ballot, said Senator Elizabeth Warren. Our very democracy is on the ballot. Your vote doesn't just affect who becomes president, it affects every aspect of our lives. This article from nymag.com says Chip Roy's Mamdani Act is a new low in nativism. There's no such thing as a low in nativism. Nativism is policies made by the government that favor the people who are native citizens of the country rather than immigrants. Why would the country make laws that favor the immigrants over the natives? How the hell does that make sense? Why would it be a good thing to favor the immigrants over the people who naturally live here? Why would it be a good thing to give them all of the jobs, to give them all of the welfare, to give them all of the health care? Why is that a good thing exactly? Well, it's a good thing because, white guilt, I guess. And this article also continues the narrative that MAGA's goal is to abolish birthright citizenship, which I'm not MAGA, but I actually agree with because it's exploited by foreigners. That's why all of this doesn't work. No trust foreigners come over here to exploit things. That's why it doesn't work. If everyone was the exact same as one another, you wouldn't even need borders, right? And that's what the left wing thinks. They think everyone's the exact same, but clearly not because the left wing destroys themselves, even without considering the right wing fighting against them. And the right wing goes back and forth against themselves as well. They say it's blatantly unconstitutional, right? But it's still nuts. It's still nuts. What's nuts exactly? It defines communists and socialists almost identically. Well, socialist is basically the transitional phase between being a communist and being a capitalist. So it is more or less the same thing, and it specifically prescribes the membership in Democratic Socialists of America, the non-revolutionary group. I mean, they seem pretty revolutionary, but the alleged non-revolutionary group to which not only Zoran Mamdani, but also Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and several other members of Congress belong. I suppose that makes sense insofar as people like Chip Roy tend to believe that the entire Democratic Party is socialist or communist, but it's still nuts. That's what they're saying is nuts. You just listed some of the most famous celebrity leftists that are out there as socialists. Of course, you defended them by saying they're non-revolutionary, even though they explicitly do things that are revolutionary. But they're some of the most popular ones out there, and they're the ones you listed. And again, they said socialist or communist in air quotes. They're trying to hide the fact that they are what they are. I mean, you just said that they were part of it. Why are you saying socialist in air quotes? Like, they are. Just like those Redditors. Like, well, socialists. Like, It's baffling to me because they have spent all of this time calling everyone they don't like a fascist, amongst many other things, just as an accusation. These people aren't playing socialist. It's not an accusation against them. They literally are. And then they go on to insulting Stephen Miller or whatever. I mean, it's about as un-American as you could get. Is it? Is it un-American to not want Chinese communists destroying our capitalist country? Is it un-American to not want Islamic fundamentalists to uproot our Christian heritage in this country? Is it un-American to not want to replace the people of this country with people from another country? Are those things all un-American? I guess it's un-American to want our birth rate to be in the positive instead of the negative as well, right? And my problem with this, if you look at this, Mamdani's wife, Zohran Mamdani's wife, apologizes for harmful social media posts surfacing from her past. This kind of crap happens all the time and people just ignore it. Last month, the Washington Free Beacon reported on years of Douaji's online activity across a handful of social media platforms, finding that she had shared posts praising female Palestinian militants who participated in plane hijackings and bombings in the 60s and 70s. In 2015, she shared a post in which someone else wrote that the Tel Aviv was occupying Palestinian land and shouldn't exist. Douaji also once used a racial slur for black people while affectionately addressing a friend and an abbreviated slur for gay people. Like, the problem is that this is what they believe. And, like, I don't care if you're using slurs. I couldn't care less. I don't care if you want the Palestine to be destroyed or Israel to be destroyed or whatever you think about any of those other places. I don't care. The problem is that you're in a leadership role. I mean, this is Mamdani's wife, so she's not actually in a leadership role, but everyone knows that women are behind the curtains pulling the strings in most of these cases. And I would say it's the same here. Separately, Douaji has also come under criticism for an Instagram post that appeared to cheer Hamas's October 7th, 2023 surprise attack on Israel. You see, this isn't just her ancient past. This isn't something that she did when she was 15, even though that's where some of this stuff comes from. But she said some of that stuff when she was 15. But this is 2023. She was apparently cheering on Hamas attacking Israel. Like, this is relevant. Like, we don't want politicians as our mayors or the wives of which in our country leading in our cities, our major democratic cities, which are very susceptible to manipulation. And they're cheering about some Iranian attacks against, well, not Iranian specifically, but Islamic attacks against Israel. And we're going to say that this is not a problem for America. It's not a problem for who we are. That this is not Islamism infecting our country. That it's not the replacement of our people. That it's not the destruction of our government. And the left says it's fine. It's fine to replace the white people with brown people. It's fine to replace Christianity with Islam. It's fine to replace capitalism with communism. But at a certain point, aren't you going to be replacing democracy? And that's what they love to harp on all the time. Oh, democracy, democracy. Yeah, you love democracy so much. You're replacing every aspect of America. Eventually, that's going to mean democracy as well. They think they're standing on the forefront of progressiveness, but as the years go by, all of those white women and the old white men standing alongside the brown and black people pushing Islam, pushing communism, whatever, for the left, well, those white people are going to be disappearing. And in time, I think the black people are going to disappear too. And it's just going to be the brown people left. It's just going to be the Islam because they have a massive religion with a ton of people. And, well, what exactly do you expect to happen in a war of attrition? Like, that's how religions work. That's how populations work. You have all the white bitches aborting all the white kids. They're not doing that. What exactly do you expect the outcome to be? It's pretty obvious. So, going back to this bill, which again is to deport, denaturalize, deny U.S. citizenship or entry to any alien who is a member of a socialist, a communist, a Chinese Communist Party, an Islamic fundamentalist party, or advocates for socialism, communism, Marxism, or Islamic fundamentalism. This is not about U.S. citizens, as the idiots on Reddit seem to think it is. It seems to me to say that it's about people who are not U.S. citizens. Deport, denaturalize, deny U.S. citizenship or entry to any alien. It doesn't say anything about people who are citizens already. That's totally reasonable to me, I think. And it doesn't really infringe on free speech to say that some foreigner can't come over here and start pushing communism, which, by the way, happens all the time, it would seem. In fact, they even do it on social media as an illegal immigrant, and then ICE comes and picks them up because they're that dumb and that self-entitled. It's fine, I think. I don't think this bill is going to pass, and I do think it's theatrics. I think it's just meant to make a point. But at the same time, like, I wouldn't be too opposed to this. I mean, I'd like to see the intricacies of it, but I think it sounds pretty okay to not allow foreigners to come into our country and start pushing communism and start pushing Islam. Like, that's not what America's about, and we shouldn't allow random people to change it. We also shouldn't allow leftists to change it. And we shouldn't allow them to do it by threatening us and calling us fascists. Anyway, Chip Roy's a terrible name. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry you were named that. My apologies. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please do the YouTube things.